Well, joining us to unpack further details on this is health economist Dr. Moment Mabasa. A very good afternoon to you, Dr. Mabasa, and thank you so much for joining us this morning right here on 8 on 7. Well, the Competition Commission has announced that it will investigate the excessive pricing of cancer medication amongst leading pharmaceutical companies in South Africa. Just talk us through initial reaction with regards to this matter at hand.
This has got a long history. You will remember that in the past there was a breast cancer drug called Herceptin, which was turned down by medical aids. The problem of the cost of drugs in this country it's a big problem. If medical aids cannot afford to pay for drugs that treat cancer, how about the state? If the medical aids cannot afford to pay for that, it would mean that the health care in this country is in the hands of conglomerates which control the prices of drugs. This also reminds me of the time when HIV drugs were very expensive. If people remember correctly, it used to cost about 4,000 rand per person per month to treat HIV, which meant if you have a couple, you were spending 8,000 rand per month, and that's what not people were earning. Even as we speak today, people are talking about 3,500 minimum wage. So, Matapelo, I think the problem that I have is that if this is not going to be challenged, South Africa can as well forget about treatment of certain conditions.
Now, generally, the prices of cancer treatment...
And we therefore feel that...
Well, you may carry on, Mr. Mabasa.
I've lost you there.
Well, just to move on...
Generally, the price of cancer treatment, of course, there are certain drugs that are available in the country for treatment of cancer, but there may be this specific one for breast, which happens to be expensive. And we think that just beyond the Competition Commission's investigation into the price collusion, the medical aids must also assist to apply pressure. But also, the citizens must not be deprived of their right to access to medicines because of pricing. And this is exactly what becomes a problem. But of course, it's an ethical issue as well. We have seen certain things being refused to be treated. For example, kidney dialysis. People will remember a very old case of Subramani who died when he needed kidney dialysis and the state couldn't afford. So I think it is a debate that must be conducted with frankness and be confronted by all stakeholders, that we cannot sacrifice the lives of South Africans simply because of the exchange rate. And we believe that we have to make sure that people have access to treatment that's essential. We can't use our young women and young mothers because the drug is too expensive. Whilst we are looking at the collusion, we must also look at whether medical aids can indeed refuse as such. But we must also look at the state as well to say nobody can be refused treatment because the drugs are expensive. But what should be done is to do it in multi-pronged way. You confront the issue of the price, but you also make sure that ethically no one is allowed to die just because they can't pay for the drugs.
Now, in the newspapers and reports, it has been made mention that for the price of
social
drugs
responsibility?
Just talk us through the reasons of these high exorbitant amount of cancer treatments or medication.
The cancer treatment is obviously very high because of the uniqueness of the condition itself. Cancer is a very difficult condition. We are lucky that HIV hasn't joined that rank now because of the government's initiatives using the Medical Medicines and Related Substances Act to make sure that there's parallel importation. Unfortunately, with cancer, the treatment is highly specific and it is very scarce, and just like doctors who treat cancer are also as scarce. We have just had reports recently that in KZN we have got only 2 oncologists who are available for the state. So that indicates to you that cancer is a very special disease and very severe and debilitating, and it has killed many people throughout the world. But South Africa's problem is related to the fact that we rely on things from overseas. And as a result, our rand doesn't help as well in making things easy for the public because of the exchange rate that we have. So as long as we are still going to rely on companies that are overseas and we can't manufacture our own here at home, even if we do, on the ingredient side, we rely on people on overseas companies. We will always have a problem of our drugs looking very expensive, whereas in the countries where they are manufactured, they look cheap and affordable because they don't have to import them. And we do. That's the one thing that the government must take cognizance of and just ensure that we, in the country, are able to access essential medicines, especially that of cancer as well.
And now, Dr. Mabasa, what policies or interventions can be used to actually lower the prices of expensive cancer medication? Do you think that regulation is lacking in this department or regard?
It's not necessarily lacking. The regulation that we have allows for parallel importation from countries that can supply the drugs cheaper. The problem comes with patented drugs, those that are still under patent, because that you find difficult to get because you find that the company that manufactures that kind of drug still holds a patent. And if it does, there's no other person that can produce a cheaper alternative of the same drug until the patent period has expired. I'm no longer sure whether it's 5. In the past, it used to be 20 years, I know, but I'm not sure whether it's 5 years now. So once that has expired, people are able to manufacture an alternative drug which is equivalent, which is a generic, which can be used to treat cancer. But we can't wait for that. We believe that the department can do more by making sure, using the institutions such as the Competitions Commission to ensure that if there is indeed any act of collusion, that is investigated. But medical aids must also apply pressure as well and assist. They cannot just be there to deny or decline treatment, because it now becomes a problem of a doctor who looks at a patient who is compromised and dying because of cancer, not simply because the drug is unaffordable.
Well, Dr. Mabasa, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning right here on 8 on 7. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. That was Dr. Moment Mabasa, unpacking more details on the announcement made by the Competition Commission of a probe against price fixing of cancer medications and pharmaceutical companies in South Africa.